Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Josh and Justin with you guys tonight, and we're going to be breaking down the Browns' upcoming Week 5 matchup in Washington against the Commanders. We are doing another Dog Pack Discord live show here tonight, so as the audience continues to fill up, we're going to do our quick spiel, talk to you guys real quick about some of the things that we expect to see this week, or at least hope to see, because honestly, I don't really know what to expect anymore. But we'll kind of go through it all and everything. Just a little precursor here. I am sick, so if my voice is very blah and low, that's why. So Justin may be taking over and doing a whole lot of the chit-chat tonight, but we'll get these guys up here on stage and let you guys tell us what you guys think. So before I do, if you want to be a part of these Dog Pack Discord episodes, head to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page, sync up the Patreon with the Discord, the private Discord. Get in there. There's 24/7 conversations going on. It's a ton of fun. Great group of diehard Browns fans. It's just an awesome place to be, especially like on game days when things aren't exactly going the way we had anticipated before the season. It's a good place to be. It's a great place to commiserate when the times call for it, unfortunately. But it's also a good place to celebrate, which we're hoping we're doing this Sunday. So make sure you guys check that out, jointhedogs.com. Justin, why don't we just kind of break down real quick what we're expecting from this game? Well, actually, you know what? Let me back up. Before we do that, I do have a voicemail from Kenny Mack. Let's let him kick it off.
Yo, guys, it is Kenny Mack, and we are just boarding the plane, and it sounds like it. Yes, I am in a Vegas haze, but one thing about being in Vegas is I didn't really have to be in the reality of the team. I'm probably going to get back there soon enough. I'm still positive enough that they can do something. I mean, come on, it's been 4 games. They've got to have figured something out by now. There's got to be a lift because Chubb's back in the building. Njoku's got to be coming back at some time. This is a game of runs. Unfortunately, we've been running flat on our face, but if we can pick up or catch the ball, stop the sack, and we can get some good tackling, we've got a good shot to win any game. It's not like we don't have the talent like we did many years ago. They'll figure it out. Let's get a dub. Let's go.
Okay, so that kind of kicks off a little positivity. He's right. I mean, this Browns team is obviously good enough, talented enough to win any game they go into. It's just a matter of, can they put it all together and do it?
Absolutely. I think he said some like very, very valid points as far as like all the games, minus probably, you could say the Dallas one was probably a little bit out of reach, but every other game was very much in reach as far as losses. Giants game, we were right there. Vegas game, we were right there. If not for some, like you said, just untimely mistakes. And the crazy thing is we're not playing, in my opinion, I don't think we're playing great football right now, but we're there. You know what I mean? We're in games. So like he said, if we can come in and we can clean some things up, play well, for heading into this week, I know we'll get into your opinion on it too. I expect this to be a very big nail biter. Like, I think this is going to be a back and forth kind of slugfest. I don't expect a ton of defense, especially, from what we've seen. But so I mean, we can go from there and just talk about both sides of the ball. But as far as like them offensively, they're very fun to watch. Like, I've only got to see him a couple times. Jaden Daniels this kid's special. Like, he's phenomenal. He's everything build and probably more. They they had weapons. We always joke during the offseason, like, Chicago was a perfect, scenario to walk into for a quarterback. And you don't usually get that. I don't think his situation was far behind that either. And we kind of talked about that in the offseason. You got Scary Terry, McLaurin, and you've got two really, really talented running backs. Zach Ertz is there now, and he's just a veteran tight end who's he's reliable. He's not gonna blow your socks off and be a Travis Kelce, but he's gonna give you 5 catches for 50 yards and maybe a tutty. But as far as like offensively heading into this week, Brian Robinson's kind of been on a tear. He's a terrific running back. He hasn't practiced yet this week. He's got a knee injury. Austin Eckler was out the week before on concussion protocol. He's back practicing fully. And all of a sudden, there's this Jeremy McNichols guy who came out of nowhere last week and scored 2 touchdowns. Looks like he might have a similar role as far as being that 2-headed monster, the second head of that running back committee. They're going to be tough to stop on offense. I think we're going to have to get a very, very good valiant effort from the defense. The stuff that we saw last week with ankle tackles and, just kind of something like just the mental mistakes. I don't think you can do that in this game. I think that they will absolutely burn you if you make those mistakes. Do I think we can contain them? Sure, absolutely. I think that our defense, if we can, it's the same defense as last year, obviously, but if we can just put some pressure on the quarterback and, stop the run. Our biggest thing for years was we couldn't stop the run in the Joe Woods defense. And I got flashbacks like PTSD of that, the last few weeks. So for me, that's a concern because this is a group, especially if Brian Robinson plays, that can absolutely just gash you with the run. And then Jaden Daniels also is a scary run threat on his own.
Absolutely. Just to kind of go along with your take here about the Browns needing to be able to tackle somebody on defense, your PTSD is well warranted. I found this stat today. The Browns are allowing 2.24 yards after contact per attempt. That is the worst of any defense in the NFL. So that means after we're hitting these guys, they're getting almost 2.5 yards on average after they get hit against our defense that was so dominant last year. And
yes,
you said it right. I mean, it's the same defense as last year, except they're not playing the same. I mean, you got Martin Emerson out there, looks nowhere close to what he looked like last year. He was Pro Bowl caliber player, and this year, not even close. Denzel Ward, has been good, but last week, not the best. And, just the tackling up front has been pathetic. I mean, even JOK's out there missing tackles. It's like, guys, what do we got to do? It's so frustrating whenever you get these guys at the line or even behind the line, and then they break a tackle and continue on to pick up big yardage against us. It's very frustrating.
Well, my thing too, I think fundamentally we can get back to basics. You know what I mean? This is a very, very skilled roster on that side of the ball. I still believe that, there's a lot of talent. We lost Wright, which is, I think, a pretty big loss. I think that's super tough.
Yeah, maybe we should just mention that real quick.
Brother,
we haven't obviously talked anything on the pod. I didn't do a midweek update the other day, but this just came out today. Alex Wright is going to have season-ending surgery to fix a torn triceps that apparently he injured it during training camp. And then and then it's just progressively gotten worse, and it's torn now. So he's got to have surgery. So the Browns lose their top backup defensive end. I mean, unless you consider Obo behind Miles and Z. But I mean, Alex Wright was playing a pivotal role for us.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a tough loss. He felt like he was kind of finally coming into his own a little bit. Like there would be flashes of, over the last couple seasons. But yeah, I think just let's get back to basics. Let's clean up the tackling. Let's clean up the mistakes. You're going to have to pressure this kid, and then also be disciplined, because he's going to be able to roll out. If you get pressure on him, that's not the end of it. You also have to contain him because he can scramble out and easily pick up 5 to 10 yards. So I would say that And as far as like Martin Emerson and stuff, like some of the coverage mistakes, like I thought we got away from that. I thought we got away from the days where Grant Delpit and, you know, Denzel are looking at each other and holding their hands up, like what happened there. I think that we can clean all that stuff up. And honestly, like this is a tough task, you know, like if you need a get right game, it wasn't this one. It was last week, you know, or the week before, if you wanted to get things figured out.
Right.
I know a lot of people were saying, well, hey, this is kind of like the preseason for everybody. Well, then if that's the case, we should have played these guys in the preseason. But
right. I mean,
you know, preseason's over now. Like
these games count.
Yeah. I think that this is the time now. Like we can't have any more excuses. Like it's time to just lock it down. And if, you know, you have those aspirations in the locker room of what your goals are, it's time you're going to have to absolutely show out.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll just run through some stats real quick to kind of talk, you know, to give everybody an idea of what we're looking at on Sunday. So the Commanders are currently on defense, giving up the 6th most yards per game, 357 yards they average giving up, 220 passing, 137 rushing. So like you said, if there's a come correct game for the offense, this is the defense you want to do it against. It's one of the worst defenses in the league right now. They give up a ton of yardage. So this is the type of game where if we're gonna make a big splash on offense, put up some yards, put up some points, can we just get over 20 freaking points for once? This would be the game to do it. They're allowing 25.5 points per game on average. So again, can we break that 20 mark for the first time this season? I did not think week 5 I would be saying that, but we still haven't done it. On offense, they are also 6th most offensive yards per game on average at 382. So not only do they give up yards on defense, but man, they can get the yards on offense. Right. So they average 170 rushing yards, 3rd most in the league. We just let the Raiders, who were the worst rushing team through the first 3 weeks, run for 100. They matched their season total in one game against us last week. So if we don't clean that up, this Commanders offense is going to run all over us because that's what the Raiders did, and we let them. So we have got to get that cleaned up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I do, and you kind of touched on it. This is a great opportunity for the offense to kind of, I think you saw positivity out of the offense. I mean, in certain aspects, as far as I thought Deshaun Watson looked great. You know what I mean? And we've talked about that. And, you know, if there's some things to build on, this is another game where there's opportunity to go out there and ball out.
Yeah.
And we're going to need him to ball out. I mean, and we're going to need him to have the under 200 yards. That's not going to cut it, I don't think. The under 20 points, like the 18 points a game, that's not going to cut it this week. So I think this is a game where we were joking and talking, but like this has shootout all over it for me. Like who makes the big play at the end, or who makes the big mistake at the end? And, you know, I see this being a very close game if we can keep it competitive as far as, you know, keep throwing punches back and forth at each other. But absolutely, I think that this should be a really, really nice game for the offense. And, you know, something for Deshaun's confidence. I think you saw that the confidence is getting better. You know, the leadership is getting better. This could be another game to build on.
Yeah, I mean, the last time that the Browns went to Washington, played the Commanders, 2022 was after, it was Deshaun's first year here, came back off the suspension. It was really his first, the game where like, hey, there's that guy that we traded for and we've been waiting for. I mean, he only completed 9 of 18 for 169 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. 2 of them went to Amari Cooper, who had 3 catches for 105 yards. So, you know, it was that explosive second half, if I remember correctly. The first half was so-so, and then the second half, he just kind of went nuts. And so we'll see. We'll see if he can kind of recapture some of that, because like you pointed out, we talked about it Monday. He played really well in Vegas. It's just, it's a culmination of things right now. This offensive line, and we can talk about that real quick. I know Jed Wills, Jack Conklin were both practicing in a limited fashion. I think DeJuan Jones as well. So all 3 of those tackles have at least been practicing this week, so they have a chance to suit up on Sunday, James Hudson, the last I saw, did not practice yesterday or today. So,
Right.
Maybe we don't have to worry about him out there, but hopefully at least one or two of the other guys can be ready to go, because this offensive line has been so bad, and we just got to, the receivers just have to do their part. Amari Cooper, obviously, just got to catch the ball. And I know there's been a lot of talk about like David Njoku, and last I saw, I believe he did not practice today.
You're correct.
Okay.
We were texting earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but he did not practice, but it was almost like a planned rest day because he practiced Wednesday, almost like a cool down.
Okay.
After, kind of ramping things up. I'd love to get him back. I know we talked about it, and you'll lose him as like an offensive weapon, but God, I think if we could get him just to block, just to take on an extra blocker or anything, I will, or even just like as far as just mojo. I think we need like some leadership badly right now. I think we need our guys to kind of step up, and it's put up or shut up time. And for me, he's, I think, a big motivational leader on that team, and we need him badly back.
Oh, for sure. Big news, Dog Pack. We are thrilled to announce we have a partnership now with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert, opening up an incredible opportunity for you to join some of our favorite sports books and get the best odds and new user offers this NFL season. Head over to our dedicated page at signupexpert.com/dogs, DAWGS, to explore a whole selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with unique offerings for you. If you guys are ready to take your sports betting to the next level this NFL season, head over to signupexpert.com/dogs, DAWGS, and check out the new user offers and the best odds on all the sports books. That's signupexpert.com/dogs.
Are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Tired of wasting time and money on starvation diets that lead to more frustration and stress? If there was a weight loss solution that could actually work for you, would you try it? Then head to Golo.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo.
I'm Amber. I've lost 128 pounds with Golo.
If you're ready to take back control of your life, head to Golo.com now and see how Golo can work for you. That's Golo.com.
My sleep is way better. My inflammation has gone way down. Golo saved my life. I was way overweight. That's what sent me down the path. I wanted to make sure and live for my kid.
I have literally tried everything. I was on the verge of getting gastric bypass surgery, and I saw the Golo commercial, and it was the last thing I tried because it worked.
Join over 2 million people who found a better way to lose weight with Golo. Your healthier and happier life begins at Golo.com. That's Golo.com. Again, Golo.com.
Does anybody want to come up on stage and give us your thoughts? Okay, we got Tony first up here, so let's bring him on.
Tony,
how's it going, Tony?
How we doing, guys?
Great.
Yo.
So I have, like I said, I'm going to bring positivity. I have a couple positive things that I think is going to be good. Is starting with the IR. I think the biggest name that I saw in there was Michael Dunn. And the reason why I say that is, I'm not saying that he's going to take Zinter's spot at guard, but it gives us some extra offensive line depth just in case, either Teller or Zinter were to go down. So I think that was the biggest name I love seeing coming off the IR. So that's positive number one, and we're getting people back. Positive number two is the way to kind of look at this upcoming week is seeing if Deshaun Watson plays like he did against the Raiders, which, in my opinion, I think you guys both agree on it. If he plays like that every game, we should be in every single game the rest of the season, without a doubt. Which I say is a great thing and is a positive thing, because now you look at all the other problems, and if you have a quarterback that can play, the other problems are easy to fix. It's easy. I shouldn't say it's easy to fix. It's the NFL, but in my opinion, it's easier to fix missed tackles compared to having a bad quarterback. It's easier to fix a broken offensive line than it is having a bad quarterback. So if Watson can keep this up, they can easily turn this around. And then the third thing I wanted to bring up too, and you guys kind of talked about it last week with like the coaching decisions and things like that. I was listening to a podcast this past week with Rodney McLeod. I think that's how you say his last name or whatever. And they were asking the questions about the leadership and locker room and things like that. And he said something that I think this team embodied last year, and if they could figure out how to embody it this year, they could be a winning team again, is that a good team is a team with good coaches, but a great team is a team with great players. And the players are the ones on the field between the lines that can decide this. And McLeod kind of said himself, as Stefanski and the whole coaching staff are doing all they can. It's up to the players to fix this and turn this around. And I think him coming out on a podcast after losing against, Oakland, losing against the Giants, having the first bad game of the season against Dallas, tells us a lot that the players, I would hope, are starting to see this as like, all right, we need to get our shit together and we need to start playing better. And after him going on the podcast this week, saying that, and then going into this week with the Commanders, it gets me pretty excited. And I think a lot of positivity to see coming out of this game.
No, I don't disagree. And what was Jim Schwartz had a comment too, I think it was today, and it was yesterday or today, and it was something like, we shouldn't need to get kicked in the mouth to be ready to come play, or something like that. And it kind of speaks to what you're saying. Like, the coaching staff is probably doing whatever they can do. I just don't understand what is wrong with these guys. Like, the players on the field, you just have not seen. I don't feel the drive and the passion and the energy out there like we saw last year. I mean, these guys were getting after it last year. They were having fun, and I haven't felt that so far this year. What do you think, Justin?
No, I agree, man. It sucks because for 4 weeks now, I've kind of like been banging on the table going, where's the energy? Where we come out flat. Our biggest thing last year is I felt like at home, that team would have ran through a wall. And then this year, on the road, it was kind of, it looked a little flat. This year, I'm like, Jesus, we just look flat. We just look like there's no energy. So I agree with that. I think that takes a lot of, that's a big leadership move for him to come and say that, you know what I mean? Because there's probably guys in that locker room that need to have that conversation and, look in the mirror and say, hey, like, my play hasn't been great. Hasn't been up to par. As far as Michael Dunn, I'm a big fan of Michael Dunn. Michael Dunn, I always remember just seeing like in that group of guys when COVID was all going on and they're bringing up guys out of nowhere. They were working out parking decks and stuff like that. He's been nice for us for years as just a depth piece, like you don't ever want to be like, hey, we have to start Michael Dunn, all pro, but like, it's nice to have a guy that you can slide in. You're right. Especially Zinter struggled. For a guy that we were very excited about, and I'm not saying he's a bust or anything like that, but obviously not ready to be in the spotlight like that. And so if this takes some pressure, because Teller's out for at least 3 more games, and It might be longer than that, depending on how, the knee heals and all that. So I'm okay with Dunn. We've seen him play. Is it perfect? No, but can we rely on him for the most part? Yes. And then Watson, I agree with everything you said, Tony. That was the first time since last year where I was like, okay, like he's firing it off. There's definitely chemistry with Judy. That looks good. We're ticky-tacky hold and a drop pass away from, I don't want to say dominating that game, but we would have, that touchdown that came back. Yeah. I don't know if they would have been able to come down and score again. Maybe they could have, but I felt like, man, that was such a momentum change. And just as soon as you got excited about the opportunity that like, oh, hey, we might have just got lucky and came out of here with a W, we're watching flags come flying out. So it's tough. Don't get me wrong. Like anytime you start a season where you think, we should run it back to the playoffs and let's do this thing, and we start 1-3, it's extremely tough. But for me, there's hope. There is hope
for sure. And I mean, the called back touchdown. Then who knows on the drive when Amari Cooper tossed up the wide open pass for an interception? Who knows how that drive would have ended? Right. You're right. We might have double score beat them on the road in Vegas, and then the conversation this week would be a little bit different. 2-2 on a coming off a big win out in Vegas rather than the loss. So it sucks. We need to stack wins, and starting out 1-3 it's just not a great start. But obviously, there's still plenty of time to bounce back. It starts Sunday. We got to get a win. We have got to come back with a win in Washington. One piece of good news I did want to mention, I was going to do at the top of the show, and I just kind of forgot, but Mike Hall Jr. looks like he's coming back soon. So they announced the other day that he is going to be suspended. He's eligible to come off the exempt list on Monday. The NFL issued him a 5-game suspension for violating the personal conduct policy, but the games that he spent on the exempt list do count toward the suspension. So he's already missed 4 games on the exempt list, which means the suspension is really only 1 game more after this. So he's eligible to return and play in week 6 against the Eagles.
Yep. That's huge. That's huge. You know, me personally, I was starting to think, like, how long is this going to go on for? Are we going to even see this guy this year?
Yeah, I know.
You know,
we talked about that.
I didn't know. I felt like it got very quiet on the news end as far as what was going on. But yeah, we were excited going into the season, you know, before all of this stuff happened with him. And I think it'd be a nice boost to the defense, you know.
We need it.
Shelby Harris is, you know, hasn't been, you know, and I guess I don't want to dog on it too much, you know what I mean? But like, I think there was higher expectations for that entire defensive line, you know, and so far for me, I'm like, hey, Miles is here, you know, and then after that, I'm like, there's some times where I don't even know if Za'Darius is out there. You know, I like Dalvin, but there's times where Dalvin kind of disappears into the game, you know. Yeah. So if it's a boost of energy on that side of the ball, on that line, absolutely.
Yeah. Peter makes a good point here in the chat. He says, I think it's important to remember we won a lot of games last year on a call that went our way or by just one play. Sometimes luck ain't on your side when it counts. So totally understand. I mean, we talk about that Colts game all the time. I mean, we should have lost the Colts game. I mean, we had no business winning that game. We got a very fortunate call in our favor, and we still had a hard time scoring the touchdown, but we finally got it and we won. But yeah, it does not always go your way. But the thing with this, you know, we talked all offseason. I think the most frustrating thing for Browns fans, and this goes back to the Watson point that Tony made, is we talked all the time, like if we just get above average quarterback play from Deshaun Watson, this team's going to win most of its games. Like that's how good we thought this team was. And then we got a super high-end game from Watson on Sunday, and the rest of the team really didn't show up. So that's a little disheartening, I think, for Browns fans, or at least for me, just being like, okay, so it's not just we need good quarterback play out of him. Well, we need everybody to get their asses back in check here.
I mean, it comes down to, like, sure, he played great, but the line didn't.
No.
Receivers dropped balls. Yep. You know what I mean? There was mental errors. Yep. Defense gave up, you know, 1 million missed tackles. You can't play like that. It's the NFL. Like, any given Sunday, we're talking about this game. We're joking around. Now we're the underdog. You know what I mean? And to a team that we were like,
chalk it up for a win.
Chalk it up for a win. You know, 2-3 months ago when the schedule comes out, and we're like, yeah, hey, they got a lot of holes. Well, they don't look like it, you know, heading into this game. But no, I mean, clean up mental mistakes, come out with some energy. Come out with like, hey, your job in the season's on the line, because basically the season is on the line. I mean, I don't want to talk about playoffs or anything like that. I want to just get a win.
I agree, man. 1-4 would not be very good for playoff chances. So let's get that win. Does anybody want to jump up here and chat? We'll probably be running the show for another 10-15 or so. If anybody wants to jump up here and talk, hands up in the chat. Nobody.
I'll say something.
Oh, Mama
I'll
Tendo.
Say something when we're. Oh my gosh! Hold on, I'm not saying anything.
No,
come on up.
Come on up, Mama Tendo.
Can we hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I got a couple things. One, Chubb will be in the building again. So that goes back to leadership in the building. So that's hope. But I feel like they've lost that next man up theory, concept, whatever you want to call it. It seems like, you know, last year it was all about the next man up, and everybody stepped up. And this year, I'm not getting that feeling.
No, you're not wrong. I definitely don't feel that either. That next man up mentality just does not seem to be existent right now.
So that concerns me. But then I have a question.
Okay.
You guys said that, things went quiet on Mike Hall Jr. there for a while. Things went real quiet on the Deshaun Watson thing. What are the odds that we start turning this around and then all of a sudden that shit pops back up?
It's the NFL.
That is my fear at the moment.
Yeah, it's the NFL. It's the Browns. So I would say the odds aren't small. I mean, I think we joked about it in our group text. I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, and it was like kind of the same thing that you said. Like, what if the Browns come out and they just lay a smack? I don't know if it was the Giants game or whatever. Like, we'll lay a smack down the Giants, and then Monday morning we get the text alert. Oh, he's been suspended or whatever. So you're right. That whole thing has gone pretty quiet.
And I was just trying to look online, and I'm not seeing squat anything. So hopefully.
Well, I'm hoping
they said something about within the next 2 weeks. And how long ago was that?
Yeah,
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
It's been long enough. I believe that the accuser has by now probably spoken with the NFL. So I would kind of go on the side of no news is good news, because if there was anything to go after him or to put pressure to try to get him to whatever they're trying to get him to pay up, or if they want to try to issue a suspension, you would have heard something by now, I would imagine.
That's what I kind of was thinking, but like you said, we are the Browns, so the odds that everything starts going good and then that gets thrown at us just scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, if they can kick us in the balls, they usually do it.
Precisely.
Hypothetical balls, of course, right?
Right.
No, but I do. I'm kind of on
somebody's balls, just not mine.
That's right, exactly. No, I'm more on the no news is good news right now, just because, like I said, I do think that window has already taken place. I would imagine that conversation's already been had. The meeting's already taken place, because that was at least probably 3.5 weeks ago, wasn't it, Justin? It's been a while. It was like right after the first game, wasn't it?
I thought that it was going to be after that Monday after the Giants game, I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe, and it might have been even the week before that. I might be getting mixed up on my weeks, but I think you guys both said it. If there was something there, I think that you would already seen like, hey, exempt list is probably coming, or, I don't think it would, I really don't think that there would just be like, boom, you're suspended for, or you know what I mean? Or, hey, you are going on the exempt list and we're going to investigate this. I think if there's anything substantial, and I don't know, you know what I mean? Like we're all guessing here at this point with it. But like you said, I think no news is good news. As far as Nick Chubb, that's a huge motivator. I watched a video where he was walking out on the practice field and every Browns player was saying hi to him. Like that is a big deal that dude's even out there practicing, considering his career almost was over, a year ago. At least I thought. I've never watched a game and felt that sick to my stomach. Like I just watched my favorite football player probably have his career taken away from him. So the fact that he's out there, I mean, I'm also going to be very grounded on what we can expect moving forward. I've been telling people, they're like, hey, are we going to see Chubb this weekend? I'm like, I wouldn't expect him until the Bengals game.
Yeah.
I think that they'll wait until we get back home and then, let's show out for our guy and, put on a spectacle and, really get this crowd behind this team. But I agree. That's a huge, and he's not a rah guy. He's a very quiet guy, but he's a guy that leads with action. You know what I mean? He's a guy that leads with his practice, like how he works.
Presence.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just very much a presence.
Absolutely. So I agree with that. I think that's going to be huge. But I do think there's something with what you said about, guys stepping up and stuff like that. The big motto was whatever it takes or whatever last year, and I right now I don't see that. I feel like it's anything that we can do, it's happening, you know, and we're just, I don't want to say we're making excuses, but I feel like we're all kind of like just being like, well, maybe this is going on, but it does make me nervous that we're seeing a lot of issues across a lot of different position groups.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Well, thanks for your questions and all your good points, Mama Tender. Was there anything else you wanted to say or ask before you?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks. We appreciate it. This episode is brought to you by Manly Bands. Dog Pack, if you followed the show for a while, you know that I recently got married. I got my wedding band at Manly Bands. Now, I opted for something a little more simple, so I just got a plain, simple, gold, polished band from Manly Bands, but that's not everybody. And I'm telling you, they've got so many cool different designs and materials available. They've got stuff. They've got bands made out of Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels, meteorites, even dinosaur bones. It's so cool. Just head to manlybands.com, check out the selection, see what they have. They've even got build your own bands if you want to make a custom style band for yourself. And right now, use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, at manlybands.com when you check out, and you'll get 25% off your order. 25% is a big deal. So make sure, if you guys are looking for a new wedding band, Blake mentioned last week or two on the show that, you know, he's lost a lot of weight in the last year. And so his wedding band is a little too big for him. So he's thinking about getting a new one. And I told him, I said, just go to Manly Bands, see what they got. And the 25% off your order is such a great deal. You really can't beat it. So at least go check it out, see what they have. They've got some really cool stuff. And again, promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, if you decide to buy one, and you'll get 25% off of that purchase. If you don't know your ring size, you can order a free ring size guide. They'll ship it straight to you. You can punch out the little rings and put them on your finger to see which size fits you best. And then every single band you order comes with a free silicone ring for whenever you want to work out or go swimming or whatever you need a silicone band for. You get one for free shipped with your purchase of a Manly Band from manlybands.com. So check it out. Again, manlybands.com. Use promo code DAWGS for 25% off your order. So I just wanted to address this real quick. So in the chat, Gage said, what do we think about the Amari Cooper trade rumors? So after Rashee Rice went down with that brutal knee injury for the Chiefs last week, there's been obviously trade rumors swirling that the Chiefs are in the market for a wide receiver. Amari Cooper could be heading out, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously you got all the Browns could be trading for Devontae Adams or, you know, DeAndre Hopkins, whatever. But what do you think about all that stuff?
I don't know, man. You know, like as far as like Amari Cooper, the contract, you know, like I don't think like we're pretty much on the hook for it. So
we already paid him.
If you do trade him, if you do trade him, you're going to get draft compensation or you're going to get a piece back.
Right.
So if that's where like there needs to be honest conversations in house with coaches, with general manager and stuff like that, and sit them down and say, hey, you know, like, is this something that we can fix? Are you happy here? Because you've been, I know a lot of people are fed up right now, but he has been everything that we could ask for and more for 2 seasons, you know what I mean? And then it's been rough. It's absolutely, it's for a guy that we've depended on, it is kind of like, yikes, what happened, you know? As far as like the trade stuff, I was very big on if we could make a move for D-Hop. I've watched D-Hop play. I'm not interested in that. Devontae Adams is intriguing. You know, if it takes, hey, you know, maybe Amari Cooper and a third and a fourth, I would send that pick. I would send it because you're basically getting a guy on a 1-year rental for both guys. So who do you think has more upside, Amari Cooper or Devontae Adams? For me, Devontae Adams, if you can talk him into coming in and buying into this team, I mean, we talk about Amari Cooper, elite route runner, like that dude is next. He's above that. You know what I mean? He is legit. I just don't know if he wants to be here in Cleveland. And I don't want that. I don't want another messy situation. I feel like we already got enough bullshit going on right now where we don't need that.
I think Adams is a lock for either the Jets with Rodgers or the Saints with Carr. I don't think he wants to play with anybody other than the two quarterbacks he's already played with. And honestly, I don't think that do the Browns. First of all, you'd have to give up draft compensation and maybe like a player or whatever, pieces to go get him. And then you've also got to take on his contract, which we've already. So if we bring him in and we trade Amari Cooper, we're like paying double the price to only have one guy. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense cap space wise, contractually. So I don't think anything's going to happen with, like you said, Hopkins, pass. Devontae Adams, not going to happen. Cooper getting traded, I think if the Browns lose Sunday and say we lose to the Eagles and we're like 1-5, I think you're going to see guys move. I think you're going to start to see draft picks coming in. You're going to see a whole different team than what we thought we were going to be having this year. But we start winning games. We beat the Commanders. We go to Philly and beat the Eagles. Now all of a sudden we're 3-3. It's like, okay, maybe now we're buyers. Maybe we're back in this whole, we're back on the right track and everything. So that's the path I hope we go down. But I do think that Amari, among a couple other guys, could be on the trade block if things don't go well.
I 100% agree with you, man. Unfortunately, I really do. And also, it just depends on how things shake out. The division's very much as much as we are
start.
Like,
for everybody.
Jesus, this is terrible. Everything's still on the table. I don't think Pittsburgh is like world beaters. I mean, their schedule is pretty easy the first half. It gets a little tougher on the back end, but so is ours. What I mean? Ours is equally as brutal, but it all comes down to what happens the next few weeks. I agree. If the wheels kind of start falling off, I do think that, you'll see some of the older guys get traded out. Some of the higher contracts like that we've talked about in the past, Wyatt Teller, if he gets healthy, I could see them moving him. You know what I mean? Like, there's guys that we like that if we start losing, we'll get moved out.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a great point about the division because, if we're able to pull off 2 wins in the next 2 weeks and we haven't played a single divisional game yet. So we would start our divisional stretch. We got the Bengals, and then I can't remember if it's right after that, it's the Ravens or whenever, but I know they're coming up. If we can go into divisional games sitting at 500, because who knows where they're going to be. I mean, the Bengals are where, they're 1-3 like us. The Ravens have struggled a little bit early on. So you're right. It is wide open. So I know it hasn't been the most positive, upbeat, week or a couple weeks here. And, this whole preview hasn't been probably the most positive that we've ever done. But, the optimism is still there that all we got to do is, like you said, I think to start this whole thing, and it's the main key, just knock off the mental mistakes, the stupid mistakes that cost us these games. We can start eliminating those. We're going to be okay. We got the talent to win these games, and we can get right back in this thing. So for me, that's what I'm really hoping for Sunday.
I agree, brother. I agree 100%.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. Does anybody want to jump on stage real quick at the end here? Any last comments? All right. So Tony wants to pop on up here. So end us with some positivity, Tony.
So positive is that we're going to go into Washington. I agree with Justin. It's as much as I want to say our defense is going to be elite. I have little faith that they're going to change it within a week. So I think it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a lot of scoring, I would imagine. I think we finally hit over the 20-point mark, hopefully. But I think that if they can fix 1 or 2 of the mental things, we can easily go into Washington and take a win home and have some positivity going to Philly. But the 2 questions I had for you guys is the end of the show is, the keys to the game to go into Washington and win. And then the second one is, with all the problems that we had, if there's one problem that we said, listen, this is the one that we absolutely need to fix going into the Washington this week, what is the one problem that we hope to see is fixed going into Washington?
Okay.
You want to go first, Josh?
Yeah, sure. So I guess main key to the game for me, I mean, outside of like eliminating mistakes and all that stuff, but I've been saying it, this is going to be my 3rd week in a row, harping on this, run the freaking football. They give up 137 yards on the ground average this is the type of situation where you got to go in there and start imposing your will on people in the trenches. It starts up front, get physical, and that will help the passing game get going better. I'm sick as tired of seeing Deontay Foreman get 2 carries in a game and nothing's happening on the ground, and then we're just sputtering out all these freaking drives in between the first one and the last one. Establish the run. For me, that is like the big key. And then on the other side of the ball, stop the run. It all goes down to the trenches up front on both sides of the line. We got to control that line of scrimmage.
Absolutely. I think if we want to have a chance to win this game, like I said, it's going to be a shootout. I think you're going to have to make Jaden Daniels finally make some mistakes, and we haven't seen him do that really at all.
Is he leading the league in completion percentage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got to try to at least make him look normal, like a normal quarterback. If he goes out there and he throws for 302 touchdowns and he rushes another one in, he's got 70 yards, we're in big trouble. Other thing, my biggest thing that you have to address this week is also the offensive line play.
Yeah.
If there's another game, if I have to watch another game where 2 or 3 guys come through free off release with nobody touching them, I don't know if I can mentally sit through a Browns game and watch that, because it is by far the most frustrating thing. I am not athletic. Me and Josh joke around. Do you think we could at least try to put a hand on somebody? It's so frustrating. And then, afterwards I have to listen to people be like, well, Deshaun Watson sucks. And I'm like, oh my God. Maybe there's been moments, but you can't watch that game last week and go, yeah, Deshaun Watson sucks. And that is just, there has to be some type of grit on the offensive line. We have to just hold pat. Can the ball come out quicker? Absolutely. But we can't just let 3 guys free release on our quarterback as soon as he can't even get his drop.
No,
he's literally taking a 1-2 foot drop and running for his life. Address the offensive line. Address it. It has to be fixed.
Absolutely. That was
that was
going to be mine. I was going to exactly say what you said.
Yep.
Put freaking hands on somebody on that offensive line. It doesn't have to be a great block. Just at least get in their freaking way. This free release stuff.
Alter their path to the quarterback.
Yes, please. Oh, it's so frustrating. I'm with you 100% on that. And I guess since you took that one, I'll just say for me, the thing that needs fixed, tackle. Just tackle on defense. We're getting to the ball. That's the thing. We're there. We're just not executing. We're just not completing the tackle. So I'm tired of seeing shoulders getting thrown into the guy's ankles. That's just not going to get it done, especially against Brian Robinson, who's a big, strong running back. And even if he's out, Austin Eckler is a great running back. It's going to be tough if you're not going to try to wrap these guys. So definitely tackling for me.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate everybody hanging in here with us tonight on a Dog Pack Discord show. Tuning in again for another preview. Browns get the Commanders in Washington on Sunday. Hopefully we get that second win of the season, get back on the right track, and get this train moving the way it's supposed to be moving. So again, if you guys want to join into these Dog Pack Discord shows in the future, just head to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page, get synced up with the private Discord, jump in here, meet all these guys, have a ton of fun. You get to talk to Mama Tendo and Fatal Gnome and all these, Tony the Italian. These guys are in here all the time chatting. Andrew Jackson wasn't in here tonight, but we got Gage in here. We've got True Senpai, Mr. Brad Moneymaker, who's always leaving us voicemails. Kenny Max in there. It's just a ton of fun. So jointhedogs.com, get in with this awesome community of people and start having some fun. So we will wrap this thing up, and appreciate everybody just hanging with me with my voice. And we didn't even mention Blake, but Blake obviously not in here tonight, just got back from Vegas today. Is that right?
I think so. I know I was texting him yesterday morning, very early in the morning. Okay. We're talking 4 or 5 in the morning, and he was lost in Vegas with John. And I was like, Jesus, these guys might not make it home.
Oh boy. Well, so everybody
but they made it because I got more text message later. So that's good.
So best wishes to Blake on a speedy recovery over the weekend. We'll get him back in studio on Monday. We'll have the whole crew back together. At least that's the plan, as long as I'm not still sweating bullets and sick off my ass. But that's not my plan. So we'll see how it goes. But again, thanks to everybody tuning in, and until we see you guys on hopefully a Victory Monday, let's go Brownies.
Let's go Browns, baby. Go Tribe.
Go Tribe, yeah.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at The Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DOGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over. So you get 10% off every order you make using code DOGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. Dangercoffee.com, code DOGS.
Connection is a healthy and essential aspect of our daily lives. From a warm hug after a hard day to kind words just when we need them. These gentle moments give us an understanding of life's true meaning. But when the ability to connect is interrupted by the hustle of daily life and to-do lists pile up next to the worry of who needs school supplies, sometimes making decisions about our health and the well-being of our loved ones can take a back seat. When it comes to those we care for, vaccines are one of the greatest public health success stories, and along with other measures, are one way to help prevent certain diseases. At Merck, we envision communities where families, healthcare providers, local organizations, and advocates work together. Health equity happens when every person, regardless of age and ethnicity, in every community, has fair access to healthcare, including the vaccines they need. For more information, please visit whyvaccines.com.
If you're a facilities manager at a warehouse and your HVAC system goes down, it can turn up the heat, literally. But don't sweat it, Grainger has you covered. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products for all your operations, including warehouse HVAC maintenance. And even better, they offer access to experts and fast delivery, so you and your warehouse can both keep your cool. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.